artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
What's up, True Heel Heat? True Heel Heat. What's up? True Heel Heat. All hands on me.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Romeo's Twitter for Rated Raw Review number 43. We need a fifth, discussing the November 11, 2024 edition of Monday Night Raw as only we can. And to do that, I am joined by my esteemed colleague, my co-host, the number one WWE supporter here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, the president of the Liv Morgan fan club, the celebrity roaster of Joel Embiid, Mr. Romeo Anthony Colon. How the hell are you?
What's up, buddy? What's up, everybody? Enjoyed my Veterans Day, my free meals. At Olive Garden, Buffalo Wild Wings, very fun.
You went to both?
Yeah,
Wow.
they're right next to each other. It's very convenient for me.
Oh, okay. Perfect for you. You deserve
Made for a great day.
it.
I'll tell you. Can I tell you what I don't deserve? Can I rant already? Let me tell you what
Go
I
ahead.
don't deserve. You people out there, you wrestling fans, some of you, not all of you, some of you just don't have it all up here. If something hasn't aired on television yet, guess what? It's considered a spoiler. Okay? Now, Raw had their show last night. They also filmed next week's Raw after tapings. The common courtesy to do for other people when you know something that is considered a spoiler, and yes, it's a spoiler because it hasn't aired on television yet, is to say, in all caps preferably, spoiler alert. That way, when someone comes across your post or whatever, they know, oh shit, this might be something I don't want to know. Let me get out of here. For those of you people that do not do that, you are the scum of the earth. You are an asshole. You should know that about yourself. You don't get any bonus points or cool points like, oh, this guy posted information I didn't know. I love it. No, nobody looks at you that way. They look at you like an asshole. Don't be an asshole. Mark a spoiler as a spoiler alert. That's all.
Is that's the end of your rant?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think you said anything too controversial there. I think you made perfect sense. So this is not one of your tangents. This is more of a rant, a frustration. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Because stuff that I was going to speculate here on this review with SP3, I already now know the answer for. It takes all the fun out of it for me. It's stupid. He might not know. I don't think. Do you know anything? I don't know. Did you come across stuff?
I know that there is
without giving it away for our viewers who may not know.
I know there is something that was a hot topic last week or 2 weeks ago when it first happened. Is not so much of a hot topic anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I will say.
Good.
That's the best I can do without spoiling anything. But yes. We got to talk about the November 11, 2024 edition of Monday Night Raw before we get into November 18th, which is going to be next week's show. And maybe we'll dabble into the spoilers a little bit later. But we appreciate y'all. If you are joining us live, appreciate y'all. If you're watching us on demand, remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Let's drop the thumbs up on this video. You can share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We'd love to interact with all of you guys, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. You could sound off in the live chat. We try to highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to get back to what you do here, you want to show your support for Rated Raw Review, our Monday Night Raw review show every single week, you can do that with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to contributors that you see on screen with us here. And we always appreciate the support. We got Eric Isaacs in the chat with us today who says, hey, THH fam, the Wyatt Six get dominated. Hey. Tensions between the day groups, Judgment and New, and the old and new bloodlines out recruiting members for War Games. Yeah, a lot of faction-based stories going on Monday Night Raw this week. What did you think about all of that Eric Isaacs recapped for us?
We'll get into it. It's too much to go at once. We'll get into it.
Fair. We also got our Negro Buck is in the chat. Thank you for joining us. What?
I haven't seen that guy in forever.
I know, it's been a while. He says, bruh, spoilers for last week were immediate. None of the posts I saw last night had any type of spoiler warnings. Yep. Yes.
Do not read Pile Driver's comment. Do not put it on screen. It's deleted in the YouTube chat. Guys, do not give the spoilers away in the chat, too. Jeez.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, when it deletes in the YouTube channel, it doesn't delete for us right here.
No, we can still see it. I can still see it. So if I was unspoiled, I am not spoiled any. I am not unspoiled anymore. We got Negro Buck who says simple fix, justified rant, Romeo. Yes, agreed. We also got Will Chisholm in the chat. Thank you for joining us today, Will. He says the Bloodline watching talent like how WWE is looking at WWE ID talent. I guess that's how their recruitment is. It was like, you were my enemy like last week. Let's be friends for War Games. I mean, that's how the women are doing it. So
the whole recruiting thing was the most interesting thing on the show.
That's fair. I will say, yeah, that was the only thing kind of new on the show. Everything else, I think I've seen like better versions of it on other shows. We also got here in the chat the King Ellie show for joining us. Thank you. Saying all I can say, at least the women's rumble will be wide open.
You got to be very careful how you pick comments to read in this chat today, because you don't know. You have to first read it off screen to see if there's
I did. Yes. That's what I did.
Just saying.
Well, I mean, it's not our fault. Why is WWE doing these double tapings so often?
I don't know. Is Triple H trying to give his workers more days off for the holidays? I don't know.
It's not the holidays yet.
It is not the holidays yet.
You're doing that a little early, sir. A little too early for that one. You can't use that excuse too early. That's like throwing out a joker, like one hand in spades.
And by the way, that thing that's been showing up in the chat, it's like, that's only one spoiler I saw. I saw another one. Multiple.
And WWE has to stop doing these big angles on these shows as well. Look, what are we doing?
Do the big angles on the live show. The fuck? Not the tape one.
That's ass backwards. What are we doing?
Yes. You like what I saw last night? That could have been a taped episode. It really could have.
It's like they gave us the live taped episode, and then the people there got a real episode the following week that's going to get spoiled to most of us.
Wild. Now listen, I know some of it doesn't make storyline sense, but screw it. Film it backwards. Shit.
We got Negro Buck. Thank you so much with a super chat donation. We appreciate you, Negro Buck, as always. He says, please don't post spoilers in the chat. Yes. Thank you. Now we have a warning that's in blue. Everybody will see it. Read this super chat again to yourself if you feel like you want to spoil something. And he also says they could have saved the big angles for the Go Home show in 2 weeks. Come on, man.
What a crazy concept, but we know how Triple H feels about Go Home shows. The pay-per-view's already sold. They're going to see Survivor Series anyways. I'm just here so nobody gets hurt before the big show.
Next week is more of the Go Home show for Triple H. He always books his Go Home show 2 weeks before.
The penultimate. Yeah. The penultimate episode. Which is why. And that just so happens to be the show that's taped. So go figure.
I don't understand. He's very ass backwards with a lot of this stuff.
And let me give you a Romeo Damas moment for this review.
Oh boy. Okay.
There will be somebody in the chat who comes in around 1 p.m., like 30 minutes into our review, and just says, "Hey guys, blah 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 shows up next week on Raw." Who didn't see the first 15 minutes of this, saying no spoilers, and they'll do it anyways because I just sense it, I feel it.
Because that is the community that we're now in. We're in this 2024 WWE bubble where people just come in and will post spoilers even though we tell you not to.
And we shouldn't even have to tell you. It should just be a common courtesy that you learn in life when you're an adult.
How do I pin the comment? See, I can't pin the comment from back here. I would pin the comment.
I'll do it on YouTube.
Yeah, like what
good call.
What Negro Buck put, yes. Please don't post spoilers in the chat.
I guess it has to be.
Oh, it has to be one of our comments
Excuse me.
pinned to the chat?
I'll just repeat what he said and pin it.
But yes, we're gonna talk all about Monday Night Raw. A lot to discuss as we're on the road to WWE Survivor Series War Games, and we actually got some matches that have been announced for that show as well throughout this program that we got to talk about. So we're gonna get into that. So like I said before, comment, sound off. Love to interact with all of you guys in the chat. And yes, Romeo, put it up for us. Please don't post spoilers in the chat. Hopefully, everyone will see that and let that marinate. But this show took place from Grand Rapids, Michigan. What did you think about the crowd last night in Grand Rapids?
7 out of 10, even though they didn't get a 7 out of 10 show. They outperformed the show.
They were pretty vocal.
You got to respect crowds that do that.
Yeah. We see Bianca Belair Jade Cargill, as well as Liv Morgan with Judgment Day, arrive at the building. Carlito had his hand on Raquel's shoulder, but she brushed it off.
That was
and
fine.
Then we get the announcement for Survivor Series. It will be Gunther versus Damian Priest. Before we get into the opening segment, were you surprised that this was the match announced? Because, we were told weeks ago before Damian Priest won number one contender that he was probably going to get the matchup with Gunther at Saturday night's main event. Even when he won last week, we did take note of, they were very vague on when the title match was going to happen. Are you surprised that that's the match they're going with for Survivor Series?
No, because both can still happen. They could still have a rematch at Saturday night's main event. But if not, you also have like Cody and KO you could do like Saturday night's main event. So either way, you got something.
Yeah. I think they're gonna do Cody versus KO at Survivor Series.
Also possible. Yeah.
KO. I think after the angle with KO and Orton from SmackDown, I think that KO is probably he should be the person who faces Cody. Because I don't think Cody's gonna be in War Games.
Yeah, which I originally thought too, but it sounds like they're having Randy out even longer with this injury they gave him. Like, he can't possibly return in 2 weeks. He could. He'll get his ass kicked, but KO has to have a match in Canada. Has to.
Yeah, you got to do that. You already got one Canadian in the Bloodline War Games matchup. Got to have another Canadian outside of that. So KO and Cody for the Survivor Series World Title matchup, and then Gunther and Damian Priest. But we kicked off with the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther coming out to the ring. The crowd loudly boos Gunther, but he states that all that matters is that he is still the World Heavyweight Champion. He wasn't living in the past and wasn't looking ahead to his next challenger, Damian. He was instead looking ahead to his next challenger, Damian Priest. Priest then entered before Gunther had anything negative to say. He's wearing a Bad Bunny Puerto Rico t-shirt.
Where's my sleeve?
Very, very, very nice. Most Wanted tour. We got Priest, who says that it was advertised that Gunther would address him. So Priest wanted to hear it in person, face to face. Priest cuts Gunther's promo for him, saying that what you're going to say, that I'm street trash, that my family never raised me well, that I'm a Latino thug.
Priest, all these empty seats. What the hell? Getting your seat, the show starter.
Priest admitted that he felt doubt the first time that they came face to face, and he said he hates to admit it that he wasn't sure he could beat Gunther at SummerSlam, and he hated to admit that. But if it wasn't for his former brother, that he would have beaten him at SummerSlam. But since SummerSlam, since becoming the World Heavyweight Champion, Priest believes that Gunther's vibe as a killer has faded away because he started to doubt himself. That vibe faded even more after Crown Jewel because he got pinned by Cody Rhodes. The crowd chants for Cody. And Priest says that he saw the doubt in Gunther right now, and the unbeatable killer was dead. Priest knew it because the old Gunther would have taken a swing at him by now if he was anybody else. Priest dared him to take a swing. Priest knew that he wouldn't do it because Gunther knew Priest would drop him right there and right then. This brought out Ludwig Kaiser, who interrupted. Kaiser told Priest that the result of his title match against Gunther would be the same as last time. Gunther stopped Kaiser as he was dressing down Damian Priest, and he started to dress down Kaiser. He started telling him that he needs to shut up, he needs to shut his mouth, but Kaiser wouldn't have it. Kaiser called Priest street trash, so he stepped up to Priest, and Priest decked him down, drove him down into the mat, then clotheslined him over the top rope, and before Gunther can attack him from behind, he turns around. Gunther smirks and leaves the ring, while Kaiser and Gunther are leave the area together here. So I like the story that they're building here, that Damian Priest calling out the doubt in Gunther, his invincibility has kind of weared down as he's world heavyweight champion, because really ever since he's become world heavyweight champion, he's been dealing with kind of transgressions of the past. Like the little defeats that he's taken along the way, not beating Randy Orton decisively in the King of the Ring tournament. He had to rectify that. Losing to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, he had to rectify that. Losing to Cody the last two Royal Rumbles, he couldn't rectify that. So that means that his vibe and his aura, if you will, has worn off just a bit. And someone who came close to beating him but still didn't beat him now has that confidence that he can beat him now that he's put Finn Balor in the rearview mirror. He could focus on Gunther, and he believes in him, but he sees that Gunther is not believing in himself the same way that he was going into SummerSlam. So I like the story that they're building there. I am still surprised that this is not CM Punk getting this matchup at Gunther at Survivor Series, but I think that Priest did well, where you could tell that he's a changed guy from the guy that Gunther faced at SummerSlam. He's changed more than Gunther has.
Priest was awesome here. He really brought his A game here. Tearing down Gunther apart, basically telling him he's lost his aura. Like, wow. And then he pulls like 8 Mile, where he just says all the insults that Gunther's about to say about him, and it just says it before he could even say it. He cooked Gunther, and let me tell you something about Gunther. He brought it too, because not in words, his facial expressions, even when he was making his entrance, you could tell his face like he's lost his aura. And then he continued in the ring when Priest was breaking him down. His facial expressions were top tier. Like he looked like what Priest was saying, even though he's trying to deny it. And then the Ludwig stuff, I like that. I like him coming in, being himself, trying to pick Gunther up, but Gunther doesn't like this stuff. And I think that's gonna play into the Survivor Series match. I think you're gonna see Ludwig make that decision to try to help Gunther, even though Gunther doesn't want this. I think they don't do this usually during the title matches. They usually let Gunther keep it one-on-one. I think this time it's going to change on Survivor Series, and I think that's what possibly sets up the rematch of Saturday night's main event. Is that Gunther just tells Ludwig, no, we're not doing it like this, and that just continues their storyline with what they got those two going on.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. And I mean, are they going to do a Ludwig Kaiser versus Gunther title match, or at least like a Raw main event type matchup? Do you think that that's the place that we're heading between those two? Because they have so many different factions and different tag teams teasing dissension at this point. I don't know which ones to believe is going to actually get to that type of payoff.
Why not? I'd be down for that. I'm sure they'd love it personally for their careers to have that one match between them.
Yeah.
Are they setting up a future Gunther babyface? I think you want to do the John Cena match before you do that, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think that Gunther's too important as the top heel right now, that I don't think that you can risk like him going babyface in any matter. It's got to be Kaiser, who feels like he's kind of been beaten down and treated as a sidekick or a number 2 this whole time, and he's looking for revenge against Gunther after Gunther brutally attacks him. You have to kind of make it in a way where Kaiser is the babyface if they're going to have that type of matchup.
I hate it. I don't want to root for Kaiser. He has such a punchable face. He has a punchable gimmick. Like, he's so smug. He's dating Tiffany Stratton. Who wants to root for this guy? I don't.
Very true.
I want to boo his ass. Boo his ass.
You just got too much hate in your heart. There's too much hate there. I don't understand you. You got to be happy for the brother.
Happy for the brother. Guys, don't forget, ruined Giovanni Vinci's career. Ruined.
Yeah, Giovanni Vinci has not survived that beatdown from April. It's been since April. Poor guy.
The next batch of releases. Whenever
this would indeed set up a match for later on in the night between Kaiser and Priest. Up next, we went backstage and Kathy Kelly was interviewing Io Sky and Kairi Sane. They were quickly joined by the returning Dakota Kai. Nice little pop that the crowd gave them live in the building. Kai was happy to see them, but pissed off at Pure Fusion Collective. She says that we were there to remind everyone what Damage Control was made of. And I totally had forgot that it was Pure Fusion Collective that took her out in storyline. I totally forgot that. I'll be honest with everybody here. I did not remember that at all. What did you think about Dakota Kai coming back? I was surprised it was this soon that she was back.
Me too. But glad to see her.
Yeah. Always.
And also that gives Damage Control. That puts Io back in being singles, and Dakota can tag with Kairi if you want.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we need the Io Sky in the singles division. The singles division is desperate for some Io Sky at this point.
Get well soon, Asuka. You're the last piece.
Yeah. And then we can be hopeful about Dakota going out for herself. What do you think about, we haven't been able to talk about this because it was announced on SmackDown, but the WWE Women's United States Championship that was announced on SmackDown, with Michael Cole confirming that both Raw and SmackDown women would be eligible for this new championship. What do you think? And who would you put as your 3 favorites to win the title?
I like the idea of a women's mid-card title. I wish it were the IC title instead of the US title. I understand that Chase said that the US title is one of their best selling belts.
Yeah.
So they just went, we'll just do this again. We'll copy and paste, and they'll buy it even more. They have to have a women's version.
If it's got a white strap, you know they will buy it more.
So I get it. It's just, to me, IC is more important than US in my eyes, but whatever. Maybe one day. Who should be it? I know a lot of people saying Chelsea Green. I don't think so. Eventually, yeah, but the first person who holds a belt needs to be a big name. And for that, I'd go Bayley.
That's fair.
One of the 4 horsewomen. Give her another accolade being the first. Seems like the other horsewomen have more accolades than her. Give her another one.
I would say
trust her.
You do have to go with either someone who this would be like a big breakout moment for them, someone young that you can, like, in the future is going to look like a great person to have as that first ever champion, like kind of like how NXT did with Kalani Jordan as the NXT North American Women's Champion. I think that, you got Lyra Valkyria who's there, who's been looking for that first big win on the main roster. I think that she's a candidate for it. Like you said, if you want to have a big, like, major star as your first champion, you can never go wrong with Bayley. Bayley's always reliable. She's always there. That's always someone that they can count on for multiple situations. But I do understand the support behind Chelsea Green. No one has maximized their minutes more than Chelsea Green, and this would feel like the big career achievement that, becoming the inaugural champion of any title should feel like. So I think that Chelsea Green is another good candidate. Those would be my 3.
Also important to note that whoever is this champion gets to be on both shows, gets to travel back and forth. So
yeah,
another reason for it to be Bayley.
That's fair. That is fair. Like I said, I don't hate the Bayley shout, but I'm just saying, let's also be real. Bayley's had a lot of first and accolades already. Does she really need another one? I don't know. Just
People
me? I don't know.
always the first ever. Very important.
That's fair. That's fair. You always be the first ever. That's fair. That's fair. But I'm just saying, Bailey is the first ever Grand Slam, women's Grand Slam champion. Is that not enough? It's never enough for Bailey.
The Grand Slam continues with this new belt. It'll be the first ever new Grand Slam.
We got a couple of people shouting out Naomi, Ace, power driver finisher. Will Chisholm says Bailey, Naomi, or Mia Yim. I've seen some people who said like Meech and Mia Yim deserves that opportunity. You know what I realized talking about like candidates for this new title? That I am more interested in Pure Fusion Collective when they are separate from one another. Like Shayna Baszler, I would be like, oh yeah, she deserves to be a candidate for women's U.S. champion. Zoe Stark, I was like, yeah, she's still young in the game. She's still just been here for a bit. That would be a huge win for her. Sonya Deville, I was like someone who's always underrated, and that as another one who maximizes her minutes anytime she gets them. Them separately, I value more than them together as a unit.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like Naomi as a idea. Bailey, Naomi, even though she's about to lose whenever she gets her match, Io Sky. I like Io Sky too. Just to put her on both shows.
You don't know she's gonna lose.
She ain't being old.
You're hoping she loses when she gets her match. That's what you meant to say, sir.
No. You ain't being no damn Liv. Crazy.
You meant to say that. We got Christopher who says, I'm going for Bailey to win the first ever.
Oh, big shocker here. The biggest Bailey fan I know. Wow. I love how you announced that. I am going for Bailey.
Like shock. I know this is a shock to everybody. That's hilarious. We got yes, power driver finisher. You tell him. No spoilers. No spoilers, Christopher. He also says Dakota Kai, so he's
wow. Shocker.
He's a damage control fan.
Oh, yeah. That ended well.
We go backstage to Kofi Kingston, who is thanking R-Truth for helping them a few weeks ago. He then apologized for not having his troops back after Final Testament attacked him. He says that he wanted to go back out there, but Xavier Woods didn't want him to get involved.
Bro, calling out Xavier. Xavier's 4 feet away. Lurking.
Just threw him under the bus.
He said, what?
Woods overheard this conversation while standing in the background and quickly interjected. Before they can really get into it, Pete Dunne then interjected next to confront Truth for calling him Butch. And he's like, hey, Pete. He was like, why do you keep calling me Butch behind my back? He was like, no. I know you're the nice one. Kingston stood up for Truth and agreed to a matchup against him later in the show. Woods was about to stand up to Dunn. He even told him that this is none of their business, but Kingston insisted that he makes it their business, and he goes one-on-one with Pete Dunne later in the show, while Woods just left on his own before the convo was even done. He's just over this. He's over this.
Kofi
we just got we got 2 more weeks before they get over the threshold of 10 years.
Kofi is like so bent up, stressed out. Like, relax, bro. Like, fuck.
He's the one. He's the one that's getting the brunt of all of this.
He's doing it himself. He's way too stressed. He needs to relax. He needs to chill.
He has to be paranoid because he knows all the signs. New Day are not always oblivious to the signs of what's going on. I think he's aware of what's happening.
What happened to the power of positivity? Shit is gone.
It's the power of paranoia.
Yeah.
The power of paranoia on both men's part.
Xavier's fine. Xavier's trying to fix it.
Xavier is paranoid that Kofi thinks he's the wink link.
Kofi's wilding out. He's going crazy. Xavier's trying to get everything smoothing out.
That's what Kofi was trying to do. He was trying to smooth things out with Truth.
He's trying to take on Truth's problems, which is exactly what Xavier doesn't need. He need to focus on the New Day, not Butch. Excuse me, Pete Dunne.
Ooh, I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna tell him he said disrespectful. You hear this guy over here? Always disrespectful to our good friend Butch. I mean Pete.
Whoa,
See?
what
You
are
got
you
me doing it.
Oh my!
You got me doing it.
Pathetic.
You got me doing it. See?
We're both fucked.
We're both fucked. Yeah. No P Dunn interview anytime soon, guys.
Nope.
Thank Romeo. But yes, it was 6-woman tag team action. Damage Control going up against Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, and Zoe Stark. Pure Fusion Collective. Damage Control had the early advantage until Baszler clotheslined Sane outside the ring behind the referee's back. PFC had the heat during the commercial break. Kyrie made a hot tag to Dakota Kai, who started running wild on Shayna Baszler. You had her a couple of times go for the running boot in the corner, but Baszler kept avoiding it.
Oh, your mic disconnected.
There we
He's
go.
Back.
Then Io Sky eventually she came in, she tagged in, and then Shayna Baszler tried to put the curfew clutch on her on the apron, but that distracted her long enough for Dakota Kai to hit the running boot in the corner, and then Io followed up with the over the moonsault for the 1-2-3, big pop from the crowd for the over the moonsault by Io Sky, as she gains momentum ahead of facing Liv Morgan for the WWE Women's World Championship. So you kind of knew when you saw the people in this matchup, you were like, oh yeah, Io's probably going to get the pin to give her some more momentum ahead of the Liv matchup. But it looks like we're going to probably have to do this Liv matchup either the week before Survivor Series or the week after Survivor Series, because they're doing War Games. And I was going to save this before we, when we get to the main event, but all I can really say right now is why? Why? We didn't need a Women's War Games this year. I understand always got to do, what you do for the men, you always got to do for the women. That's all fine and dandy. But you could have set this up a lot sooner if that was the case. You can't shoehorn this. Now you're just making War Games feel like freaking Hell in a Cell, the pay-per-view.
Make sure your mic is connected in the settings. I don't know if it is, or if it's coming through the laptop. But yeah, we called this last week. We were speculating, Women's War Games. They're setting up the teams here, and yeah, it'll probably be forgettable because the heat ain't really all there like it is the Bloodlines War Games. So, you're right. But equality. Would you rather see Final Testament and Wyatt 6 in War Games? That seems like it's more worthy.
I don't want 2 War Games. I think that this is the year that you do 1 War Games, because it's been built up well. It's been building for years, if you think about the overall Bloodline storyline, but at least for months since WrestleMania, this has been what you've been building up to, this big Bloodline Civil War inside of War Games. You've been building for it for months. You can't do that and then shoehorn a haphazardly put together Women's War Games where Io Sky, who was just feuding with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill over the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, is now dapping it up and all fine and dandy with her. After Io and Damage Control made Bianca's life a living hell, and Bianca Belair still holds grudges against Bayley. She doesn't act normal when Bayley's around because she feels Bayley and Damage Control ruin her life, but she's all fine to team with Io Sky. None of this makes sense.
It shouldn't be. It should only be the 1 War Games match. But equality. Something for the women.
Equality for equality's states. But we shall talk more about the Women's War Games setup when we get to the main event matchup here. We got no spoilers in the chat, please. That's all I will say. Ace says Xavier Woods cares now about the team. This is true. He cares about the team, even though he wants to win singles gold, which I don't know. I don't think Xavier's the saint y'all trying to make him sound out to be.
He's done nothing wrong.
I think Romeo's out here capping on y'all. He's capping.
Xavier Woods, well, full disclosure, is a good friend of mine. We once played Street Fighter at a barcade one time, so I will say that. But for full disclosure, but I can be Orlando.
Orlando, okay.
But that doesn't prevent me from being unbiased about his character on television. So he's done nothing wrong. Kofi Kingston's character, however, is crazy. Watch him be the good guy at the end of this, which I don't get. This guy's just.
Hey, he is the good guy. Kofi can do no wrong, so he is the. There was a recap of the Bloodline storyline, their OG Bloodline reunion from SmackDown, and then we saw Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso backstage. They were backstage together. Jey and Sami got a big pop. Jimmy Uso showed up and was immediately antagonistic towards Sami Zayn. So I was like, so what the hell did we accomplish on Friday? I was like, if you're still, I would have liked if we saw, like, if you were going to do this angle with the backstage and Jimmy kind of being against Sami again, at least do a show-long narrative by the end where they're doing like the handshake or something. Or maybe the follow-up's going to be on SmackDown. That's fine if you do it there, but I didn't understand immediately going back to this type of like vibes within the team after the big reunion segment.
Because that's their handshake, Jimmy and Sami, and Sammy's out here doing it with Jey. Like, who the hell? What the hell? What? Remember, Jey didn't like you at first. Remember, it was me. That's our handshake.
Now he's defending Jimmy Uso, y'all. You see what happens here? You see what happens?
He's right. And then I like when he said like nice outfit, and then Jimmy looked at him like, oh yeah, you too.
He was like, I like your chain. He compliments his outfit and his chain. Jimmy couldn't find anything nice to say about Zayn's outfit. Jimmy said they needed a fifth member for War Games because it was 5-on-5. And Sami had a light bulb go off and said that he might know someone. Jimmy doubted that Sami knew anybody. And Sami said that he would text Jey and was very clear he would only text Jey, as Jey told Jimmy to be nice. On commentary, Wade Barrett said that Zayn better not be thinking about Kevin Owens. No, I don't think he should. He should. Yeah. I think he should rethink that call if that was ever an idea in his head.
Yeah. Good call. But listen, the War Games, it should be 4-on-4 in this circumstance without knowing who the fifth guy is. Unless it's Hikuleo or this is not going to happen. The Rock, it's not going to happen. So just forget that. Unless it's Hikuleo, they're introducing him. It should be 4-on-4. If you're not, if you're just going to put somebody else, why? What are we doing? Now you're watering down the whole Bloodline war.
Yeah. Do you think that adding 2 more people is diluting this a bit?
Yes, because you'll probably introduce 2 people who I guess could even take the fall that are not involved in the storyline whatsoever.
True.
So, and I don't know, is this still to see who becomes the tribal chief? I don't even know if that's a stipulation.
No, I don't think they ever specified that it was for that.
Because when they were talking one-on-one, Roman and Solo on SmackDown, they did mention like we need to fight for this. I guess that's got to be tribal combat. I guess that's coming up after.
That's gonna be the Royal Rumble, or Triple H. He'll try to if he really wants to do Cody versus Rock, he would try to force this Solo versus Roman matchup all the way to WrestleMania.
Right, it's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, this has to happen at this point. But yes, so we had that whole setup for them to recruit a fifth member of the team. I do think it is diluting this a bit because you're adding in different stuff. If eventually, and I think because of how much emphasis he got on this show, we're about to talk about it with Seth Rollins. I think that he's one person that he fits in with the long history that he has with everybody involved, that he would
Yes.
be fine to add to this. And then, yeah, it has to be someone like Hikaleo. That is like
Yes.
the other person for the new Bloodline team.
Yes. It cannot be some random.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I wanted to ask you, because we talked about this on the flagship podcast this week, how do you rank the OG Bloodline members in order of importance to the storyline? Josh and Chrissy, they voted for Roman Reigns. I voted for Sami Zayn, but we pretty much had like the similar ranking, despite not having the same number one. Because my number two is Roman Reigns after Sami Zayn, and I think they gave like either second or third to Sami Zayn, depending on each of them. I think Josh had it Jey Uso number two, and then Sami Zayn, and then Jimmy Uso. Everybody had Jimmy last. To be fair.
So what exactly are you asking?
Who's the most important, and how do you rank them
And
in
this is
order of
between
importance to the storyline?
this is between everybody on Team Blood OG Bloodline.
OG Bloodline.
Roman, Jay, Sammy.
Y'all underestimating Sami Zayn, man. He saved them. Saved them.
But it's still, you see what Sammy's trying to get to though. He wants Roman to apologize to Jay. And he doesn't apologize, and he still gets what he wants at the end of the episode. Not even like a week later. Roman, it's like you never have to apologize for the things you do wrong in life. It's like they were trying to set some kind of like life example. Don't apologize. You'll still get what you want in the end. What? And it was that first opening segment was good because on SmackDown, because Jay, you could tell it meant a lot to Jay if it did happen. Like he was trying to play it off like, and whatever. It's whatever. But it would mean a lot personally if he did get an apology. And he never got it. And they're still teaming. And everything's all peachy. It's just brushed in the back. Roman is such a gangster at the end of this. My goodness.
But I just gave it to Sammy because when you think about all the memorable moments of that era, like he is the most important figure of the most iconic era of the Bloodline storyline. The Honorary Uso story, the Honorary Uso promo, the Usi promo, him breaking these guys into laughter, the different big moments that build to Raw Rumble 2020, Raw Rumble 2023 with him finally betraying Roman, the tribal court segment, that was a big one as well. And then the matchup at Elimination Chamber, the great tag team main event at WrestleMania 39. Like that's why I said Sami Zayn, I give him number one because he saved the team. The team was down with the same players that everybody else, and it was down on the downgrade coming into like WrestleMania 38 and even coming out of WrestleMania 38. And then you add Sami Zayn into this whole formula, and it goes into its best era ever.
Don't get me wrong. Sammy's important. Sammy's fun. Sammy's great. But the people are so much like behind Jey Uso. They want good things for Jey Uso. And they like Roman too now. But they still want Roman to apologize for everything he did to Jay. Like, that's important to people. But it doesn't matter anymore. What's important to us? Screw us.
It's not important to you people. You people will eat with Jey Uso no matter what. So what are we really talking about here?
You just, man, I look at Roman in a different light. So, like some of the stuff people are saying about Roman, like Seth Rollins, for example, we'll get into it. Like, it's not exactly wrong. Solo Sikoa, some of the things he says, not exactly wrong.
Not exactly wrong. That is true.
But there's still room. There still could be something lurking there in Roman. Manipulating, taking advantage of people.
Well, I think
he never apologized.
It's always going to be that. We got Dro who says Sammy is the GOAT for being on Team Roman's side again. We also got Valabi who says Jimmy is useless. Okay, not useless, but he's just coasting. Yeah, he's just happy. He is freaking who was it? I think it was Billy Gunn and Road Dogg mainly. He's the Billy Gunn and Road Dogg of this DX because they were basically coasting on DX checks in like the late 1998, and they were upset with Triple H wanting to turn on the group because it would have hurt their money, and it did, and that's why they brought back DX like less than a year later.
Jimmy's funny. Jimmy's just like in the background coming up. He doesn't trust anybody, and he's coming up with the audibles, gonna run the plays, and what an audible he calls backstage. We'll get into that.
Gotta call audible. I'm calling the plays, man. Safed says Sammy is also responsible for breaking up the bloodline. Also true. He was the difference in people seeing the era of Roman Reigns' ways in the bloodline.
He started this. He started all this.
He says the OTC doesn't apologize to anyone. We also got I Make Beats. Thank you for joining us today. Sending us a super chat donation. Thank you, good brother. He says, Miss Raw probably missed the stream. Busy. Keep him busy. Never going to complain about that, good sir. And he also says, guessing we ain't getting Rikishi in War Games then. Nah, they need people who can actually take bumps, not into hay.
I'm sure Rikishi's got great ideas for creative, though. Somebody ask him.
I Make B says, is Bloodline 2.0 getting Dwayne for War Games? I've been seeing this a lot. What would you put it? You usually do 0 to 100 on the Flagship podcast. 0 to 100 percentage of Dwayne The Rock Johnson competing in War Games.
1.5%. If The Rock was in War Games, he'd be sounding like Randy Orton did on that stretcher on Friday. And it'd be real. It wouldn't be a work. It'd be a shoot. Like, no. He may show up at War Games at the end of War Games. He may. To do some silly little hand gesture. And that's it. But he ain't working that match. Crazy. It'd be great. It'd be great. But no. Do you agree? What percentage you put?
If I had to put a percentage on it, I would say 5%. I'll be a little bit higher than you.
Ooh, risky.
5%. The Rock says, you know what? I'm not working WrestleMania 41, so let me work War Games, and that's how y'all write me off.
They did make sure to mention Rock on Raw. Plug his stuff. His appearances.
Plugged him being part of the GQ's Men of the Year award and Entertainer of the Year.
Yeah. And then Jimmy Fallon hit him with a pillow. Like, what? I don't think The Rock was expecting that. The Rock should have rock bottomed his ass right there in the set. Kidding me?
Should have, whooped his ass, stomped his ass out.
Protect the business. Can't let no talk show host F you up.
It'll be like that with Hulk Hogan when he choked out the talk show.
Yeah. What The Rock should have done. Like the SmackDown.
We got a bunch of 0% here. Safet saying 0% chance for The Rock wrestling in War Games. We also got Brandon Brown who says 0%, no spoilers, but I thought they have the teams after next week. Doesn't seem like it. We'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah. No spoilers.
Yeah, that was the other big spoiler from yesterday's spoiler show. But like we said, we're not going to do spoilers here. But yeah, if that's the fifth man, I don't know, Chief. I don't know.
Goes back to what I said.
Yep, it does. It does. We got Power Driver Finisher. He says 2%. He tears a quad.
Yes. There's higher chances of Rock tearing a quad than Rock being in War Games.
Next up, we had the aforementioned Kofi Kingston going up against Pete Dunne. One-on-one action here. Nice little fiery start from Kofi, shining a bit, hitting a big dive to the outside, clapping it up with Xavier after the Tope Con Hilo. but Pete Dunne grounds him, works over his arm, goes after his fingers, the joint manipulation. You had Xavier every time that Kofi was on the back foot or was losing in any way, he would just be rolling his eyes, very upset that he's even in this situation. Kofi went for trouble in paradise, but Dunn fell out of the ring as the referee held back Kingston on the outside. It was Xavier Woods who clotheslines Dunn inside out, but Kofi confronts Woods for that. He's very upset that Woods is getting involved, which leads to him being distracted long enough for Pete Dunne to capitalize. He hits a knee strike and then the bitter end for the 1-2-3. And then post-match, you get Woods helping Kingston, but also telling him, I told you so. And Kingston shoved him away because Woods kept saying that he was right, and they continued to argue as they cut to the next segment. What did you think? Pete Dunne getting a rare victory here over Kofi Kingston, but it's more about the New Day and them really struggling to get past the 10-year mark. And they sounded like on commentary that we're still like 2 weeks away. So they'll probably do the November 25th episode of Monday Night Raw for the New Day celebration story, but we're hitting that boiling point for it for sure.
Just Kofi being over dramatic as usual. Xavier was just trying to help him win. Like, what's the big deal? Go and this is all your fault too. You started this whole problem. Xavier's just trying to be a good teammate. I respect Xavier. Kofi got what he deserved. Good on Pete Dunne getting the win.
You're always victim like. Well, how can this be all Kofi's fault? Like Woods he asked Woods not to be involved, and he got involved.
Trying to help him. And look, I couldn't take the end when they're arguing outside. I couldn't take it seriously because Kofi had this huge snot booger coming out of his nose. And I was like, please wipe it off. And then finally he wipes it off. I don't know how Xavier kept his cool.
That's all you were worried about.
Did you see the size of that thing? Oh my goodness. Oh, disgusting. So bad.
Next up, we had one of our more interesting backstage segments on the night. The Judgment Day were hanging out in their clubhouse. Carlito and JD McDonough were playing WWE 2K24 on PS5. Liv Morgan was excited to win the tag team titles with Raquel Rodriguez as they would have it all. But an annoyed Finn Balor stood up and said that they would have it all except the World Heavyweight Championship. He confronted Dominic Mysterio for coming up short and losing last week. And he says now Damian Priest was only one win away from being champion again. Dom said that nobody had his back last week. He had to do it on his own. Bronson Reed got involved. Dom wondered where Finn Balor even was last week. And Balor says that he was doing what Liv Morgan suggested, and that was focus on the tag team titles. But if he needed his help, he could have just told him anyway. But Dom told Balor that he beat Priest, unlike him, and got closer to the world title than Balor had in a long time. I was like, oh, okay, Dom. Okay, Dom.
Clap back.
Balor
making him more confident.
Balor got in his face and said, you want to say that again, kid? The rest of the Judgment Day jumped in to calm things down, and Liv called them a family. Balor agreed with Liv and said that they were a family, so he just suggested that Dom and Carlito step in for him and McDonough to face the War Raiders next week. Dom had no problem with this, and he left to make the match official with Adam Pearce. So I thought that this was a really good segment, and the first time they've teased dissension in this new Judgment Day. It does feel way too soon to do
already.
That. Already do that, especially when you have 5 other teams teasing dissension at this point.
Well, this is what they get. This is what they get when they get rid of Damian and Rhea. What do you think's going to happen? You think this honest guy, Finn, was being honest since the beginning? No. He's a piece of trash. He's a piece of garbage. He's the street trash, Finn Balor. And Dominic ain't no little kid anymore. Dominic is growing up before our eyes. into the Daddy Dom. Daddy Dom. He's the daddy now. He's the poppy now. He ain't no little kid. And I like when Dom, I like Dom with the clapback, but I like when Dom goes to like, I'm gonna make this official with Adam Pearce. And Carlito's like, wait, that's my job. I'm the fixer. Carlito's not gonna have a job no more, man. That's his job in the Judgment Day.
Yeah, this was really well done. I like the little tension, and it felt like Dom was more of the babyface in this situation, which I don't think that's what should be the play if they are going to separate Dom from Judgment Day.
That's interesting. Because I think I'd be hearing Dom in like real life interviews, and like he's mad chill, he's mad cool, like he's actually likable. But I don't think you want that on television just yet. But maybe one day, who knows? Maybe the people will rally behind Dom, growing up with him as long as they have, and everything that he's been through. One day, but not anytime soon. And by the way, I was looking up the New Day history just to see like when they like started. Official in-ring debut was November 28th. So that would fall in line with the November 25th Raw, a couple of days before. But they actually started airing vignettes like November 3rd. So
okay. So I think they're going by their in-ring debut, it seems.
Yep.
So that would make sense, November 25th. So they'll probably start pushing it hard on next week's show.
Yep. 2014.
What a time. What a time to be alive. You lived in the New Day era. We got Will Chisholm who says, ever since Edge got kicked out, the Judgment Day is a toxic family. LOL. It's true. It's so true. They are very much a toxic family.
It'll be an endless cycle of kicking people out. That's what they do.
Can't teach them anything else. And Ace says, why Finn Balor was so bitter because Dominic did something Finn couldn't do at Bad Blood. Finn has not been able to beat Damian since Damian rose to power in the Judgment Day.
Poor Finn. Well.
He'll be all right. Dro says, I could see Finn versus Dom happening. Yeah, I think you're gonna have to find a way for Finn to be the babyface though, for that to work.
Dom has to take the reign, be the new leader of Judgment Day. It makes sense for his natural arc that he's got going on. That Dom rises to be leader eventually.
He came in as the person replacing or like coming in to forge their ranks, and now he's gonna rise to prominence and become the leader.
That's Dom's next progression.
I like it. Next up, we get Bronson Reed. He comes out to the ring. He says that Seth Rollins was a hell of a competitor, and he proved that by getting the win at Crown Jewel. But Reed was not a competitor. He was a monster. Last week, he took out Rollins, Damian Priest, and Sheamus, and he would take out anyone who stood in the way of taking down Seth Rollins for good. So he called out the visionary, the revolutionary, Seth freaking Rollins. How about you come out here because I'm in the ring right here, right now. And this brought out Seth Rollins out to the ring, prancing out, holding a microphone. But he immediately drops the microphone and he runs down to attack Reed. Reed decks him with a big body block. He hits him with a big super kick, and he leaves him on the announce table, setting him up for the tsunami. But Rollins flew off the table and tackled Bronson Reed. This continued the brawl until security came out and separated them. But Bronson Reed once again starts battering the security guards. The security tries to hold back Seth, who goes around the ring and attacks Bronson Reed further until there's a whole bunch of security at ringside holding back Rollins. And Bronson Reed hits a big suicide dive, taking out all the officials and security while him and Rollins keep fighting as we go to a commercial break. After the commercial break, Rollins argued with Pierce in the back, and Pierce had enough of this, but Rollins demanded a rematch, and Pierce was pissed enough that he agreed to one more match and said, let's do it next week because he's sick of this. Another week, another Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins brawl. This was a fun one here. It wasn't the best one that they have, but it was nice to kind of lead into what should be their final encounter against one another on next week's show for now. But what did you think about the brawl with Seth and Bronson Reed?
Yeah, it was fine. Typical Triple H loves doing these. Oh my goodness, does he not? He overbooks them, in fact.
Yes.
But it's good. The crowd eats it up every time, usually. It is what it is. Setting up the match. Do you want to rate Seth Rollins 1 to 10 on what he had, his outfit?
This was at like a 2.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's one of Seth's worst. That's awful. Not matching at all.
Not ridiculous enough, not matching. So yeah.
I expect this from Sami Zayn, not Seth. This is like, 2.2. I'll give it.
That's fair.
Gotta
But
keep this up every week. He's gonna have to change clothes, different taping. I hope he did.
hopefully he can't be slacking. We're gonna grade. We
Gotta
don't
pack
care
twice.
if it's tape. We don't care if it's tape. We're gonna grade him appropriately next week.
Because if it's the same shit next week, this is a 0. I don't give a shit. You better try.
But yes, we get Sami Zayn approaches Seth Rollins after he gets his match with Bronson Reed for next week. And he says that they are looking for a partner for War Games. Zayn knew Rollins had bad blood with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, but Zayn did too. But he had a family bond with them that never went away. No matter what happened between Rollins and Reigns, he believes that they were still brothers as well. Zayn looked up and down the roster and said there was no one else. Rollins was their fifth man. Rollins tells him he must be out of his damn mind.
I wish it was Netflix so he could curse. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Rollins knew who Roman Reigns really was and was shocked anybody, let alone Sami, would be standing next to him. Zayn had to be blind not to see that Roman Reigns was just using him again. And Rollins appreciated Sami saying all those nice words, but his answer was no. He will never team up with Roman Reigns ever again. I might as well talk about it now because it's closely tied to what we saw here. Later on in the show, we see Kathy Kelly approaching Seth Rollins for an interview, but he leaves her because he turns his attention to Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu of the new Bloodline.
Yeah.
With Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa were in an SUV, but Solo and Jacob were outside of it. And Jacob had a proposition. Not Jacob, but Solo had a proposition for Seth. And he says they both hated Roman Reigns. So why should they not join forces and take him out once and for all? Rollins starts laughing. Solo tries to laugh with him, but Rollins says he plans on stomping Roman Reigns' head into the ground the next time they were in the same ring together. Solo liked the sounds of that until Rollins says that he would never join forces and team with Roman Reigns. But he definitely would never join forces with a wannabe Roman Reigns, which got a big pop from the crowd in attendance. Jacob Fatu got in Rollins' face, but Solo held him back, and Rollins left after refusing both the OG and new Bloodline. What do you think about Seth Rollins being the prettiest girl at the prom? Everybody's asking him to the City Hawkins War Games dance, and he's saying no to everybody. Do you believe him that the next time he's in the ring with Roman Reigns, he stomps his head in the ground? I would be fine with that if he is on the same team with him and he follows through on that promise and he does that, costing Roman Reigns War Games for the Bloodline.
I love that. Love that. Both of these segments were really good. Really good stuff. The first segment, I could, Sami, that's a bold play. Bold play. But I respect it. I respect the boldness because I do understand where Sami's coming from. What he's saying about Seth and Roman, like, you were brothers once. He's trying to get that back, but oh my goodness, there's been so much that has happened since then. You don't have to go far back. WrestleMania, when Roman slammed Seth in the back with that chair. You know, bringing back those memories of the Shield breakup, which everybody don't forget. Seth started this. Don't forget that. The Roman's downfall. And Seth, I completely 100% understand everything he was telling Sami Zayn. You're crazy. And then everything he told Solo. And like making a lot of sense too. It's like, and Solo, man, he's so much better now that he stopped being so serious and he's got a little more charisma to him. Jacob Fatu, he's also great where he's just standing there wishing, hoping Solo gives him permission. Such a great gimmick. I bet you Paul Heyman came up with that. Like, Jacob Fatu,
I love you, Solo.
Yes, I bet you that's all Heyman. Because Heyman used to do that same pose with Roman, if you remember. So, I love it. They're so great together. And I could just see Seth, like, that was foreshadowing eventually. Eventually, Seth is going to have this whole program with this new bloodline. He's going to go through all of them. Solo, Fatu. They're probably all coming over in freaking Netflix era. He's going to go through all of them. That was foreshadowing. And I like Seth banging the car door, too, to acknowledge GOD.
Yeah. That was
Can't you see it? Like, we're so getting Seth Rollins, Jacob Fatu eventually next year. Like, everything. We're all getting all that.
I think that Seth is going to be one of the people that puts over Jacob Fatu on his rise up the ladder.
Yeah.
Sure. But yes, that was good stuff. I like Seth Rollins joining this team because I was like, I could see Hikuleo being the fourth person or the fifth person to the new bloodline, and I would be fine with that. I was more confused on who was going to be the fifth person for OG Bloodline. But Seth Rollins makes a lot of sense because he has all that history with Roman Reigns in the Shield, but he also has history with the Usos as well as with Sami Zayn. They teamed together in last year's War Games against the Judgment Day, and they came out victorious. So why not put them back together with Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso? Seems like a dream team, but is Seth not going to turn on Roman? I think he will.
It should be what you said. He should absolutely get in a cheap shot on Roman. Absolutely. Remember, Seth put his body on the line of Mania to take this guy out. And now you want to help him? You want to help him out in his little family squabble? What? Come on.
I see it. But this was a really good build for the War Games matchup between those two segments that we saw there. There was one more segment we'll get into as far as the recruitment segments on this show. But we had the follow-up to the opening segment up next, Romeo, as it was Damian Priest going one-on-one with Ludwig Kaiser. Priest crashed shoulder first in the ring post. That gave Kaiser the advantage. He hits a nice little running drop kick to Priest, has him down for a little bit here. Priest eventually makes his comeback, and this is one of like those rare, like old school John Cena 5 moves of doom type finishes where the babyface just hits move after move after move, then he hits his finisher, and 1, 2, 3, it's over. Like we get so kind of numb to the fact that a lot of these wrestling matches are booked the same, and it's like a reversal into the finisher that finally gets the job done. But no, they really wanted to confirm that Kaiser is here and Priest is up here. So Priest hits a bunch of strikes, and then eventually he hits the South of Heaven chokeslam for the 1, 2, 3 to pick up the victory here. The crowd was very much into Priest for this entire matchup. And like I said, they really positioned Priest as one of the top baby faces with the way that he was booked here against Kaiser, who usually can give you a competitive matchup. This was not that. This went just over 7 minutes, had a commercial in between, so we only saw about 4 of it, and it was very much a one-sided affair, a convincing win for Damian Priest. What did you think, Romeo?
Yep, nothing to add there. He pretty much just waxed his ass. That's it. Keeping Priest strong for Gunther.
When he did the whole thing where he does the pose into the South of Heaven, I was like, I'm just so not used to seeing wrestlers nowadays do a pose and then hit their finisher. Usually you posing is the reason why your finisher is not hit.
It's bisexual Kane. That's what Kane used to do. Set up the choke slam. Boom. Got him.
You were just waiting to hit that. Waiting
You
to say
set
that.
it up. You threw an alley-oop. I'm supposed to throw it down if you do that.
There you go. Gunther did not look pleased with Kaiser getting another loss here, but next we had the WWE congratulating The Rock on being GQ's Male Entertainer of the Year and plugging his new expensive movie, Red One, about stealing Santa Claus.
Did you see
My
that
daughter
photo
is very
shoot?
much into this.
Did you see that photo shoot? Some of the Rock pictures?
He looked like a Fortnite character.
He wrestled Seth Rollins once. I was like, wow, I gotta start dressing like him. Wow.
He's like, I see your game and I doubled it.
And speaking of your daughter, Moana 2 coming out soon. You watched that a million times?
Yes. did watch that a lot. When she was like 1 and 2, that's all we used to watch. Moana.
It's
So
like the
I'm gonna
most
watch
watched
Moana
movie ever. Kids can't stop watching it.
Yeah.
Now they got a new one.
Got a new one.
Cash cow.
Too, Jay.
Cash
I gotta
cow.
see if Harlem is able to actually go to the movies to see that. I think Sydney can go because he can sit in one place and be quiet.
Oh, by the way, you won't be shocked at this, but I've never seen it.
What? For real? It's like, duh. I mean, I just assume you've never watched anything, and then I'm on the safe side usually.
Kids movies, even more so.
What was the last kids movie you saw?
That is a tough. You know what? I've seen Frozen. Amazingly, I've seen that. I think that's the one I can remember. And that's very similar to Moana. It's like another movie that the kids cannot get enough of, especially the girls.
Yeah.
I've
seen that a bunch of times because of my kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all I can remember.
I think Frozen 3 is coming out soon.
Yeah. I think I'll just wait till I have a kid before I start watching all these. And then I'll have a whole back catalog of things to watch.
You're gonna be like, you're helping Dada.
Yeah.
Helping Dada with his list. They showed a clip of Sheamus and Braun Breaker wrestling to a time limit draw on Speed. They got into a brawl after the matchup. Then we get Kathy Kelly interviewing Braun Breaker. He said that he wanted to expand his trophy case. So he would be standing here with the Speed title if it wasn't for that ugly, idiot, bonehead Sheamus. He was sounding like his uncle a lot in this.
Yes.
Sheamus appeared and he calls Braun disrespectful, considering he has been there for 15 years while Braun has been there for 15 minutes. Sheamus said that Braun reminded him of himself when he was younger, and he admitted to being arrogant when he beat John Cena to become one of the fastest ever to win the world title. Sheamus wondered if Braun had a set big enough to put the Intercontinental Championship on the line against him. Braun said that he wasn't listening to anything that Sheamus said, but if he wanted a title shot next week, he's got it because he would love to beat Sheamus's old ass again. Sheamus told him to shine up the belt because he was taking it home next week. And then when Sheamus leaves out, it is Jimmy Uso who approaches Braun Breaker after Sheamus leaves. And Jimmy asks if he had a second to speak, and Braun said yes. So the fact that Jimmy Uso is going to someone who feuded with Sami Zayn, beat him for the Intercontinental Championship, and then beat his brother, disrespected their family, and then beat his brother for the only title he's ever won on his own. Jimmy Uso staring the pot as only he can. That's why you're last in everybody's ranking.
You skipped the part. Remember, like, he feigned showing respect and gaining Jey Uso's trust and then turned on him, getting his title shot. What an audible by Jimmy Uso. What an audible.
Audible.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work out. Yeah. Well, Braun Breaker and War Games will be a lot of fun, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Don't think it's going to work with the OG Bloodline. It's like, remember how much fun you had beating us? These guys will be even more fun. They're Samoan too. You can mess them up too.
He's like, not so fast, Chief. Not so fast.
And by the way, did you notice the little casual seed planted? of Sheamus mentioning how he beat John Cena. John Cena is coming back. That could be either a John Cena Sheamus running back, or what I think it is, mentioning Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, John Cena. John Cena's never won the Intercontinental Championship. Seed planted.
He's like, this is all these seeds that Triple
All by
H
design.
plants it. It's all by design.
And I want to see
doing
it.
Anything by accident.
Sign me up. That's one of those matches that I think should be automatic for John Cena. Braun Breaker.
You got the whole story. It writes itself with Cena trying to get the one title he's never won.
Easily.
Will Chisholm says, so what y'all think of Coach claiming that Jade and Bianca don't like each other? I don't believe that at all. I mean, I think you're on the safe side if you don't believe anything Jonathan Coachman says on any of the podcasts that he contributes to, because he is known to lie and want to get these clickbait articles out there. So when I heard that it was Jonathan Coachman as the source of Bianca and Jade don't like each other, I automatically thought, oh, they must love each other then.
Yeah, my source says Coach is full of shit. You know what my source is? Instagram. Just seeing how Jade and Bianca interact. It's not for show. They love each other. They're like sisters. No, I don't buy it.
Jonathan Coachman trying to steer the pot. What's new? What?
But storyline wise, it's coming.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to help. Maybe he's trying to help with all this. Just gonna steer the pot so people really believe they don't get along.
What a jabroni.
Cortine says, was the original plan Punk versus Gunther at Survivor Series? It sounds like it was, and then they audible. So I don't know if they audible. Like,
they should have got Jimmy Uso for that.
But I don't know if they audible because Punk is still hurt from Hell in a Cell, or if they audible because they're like, no, we can give this bigger match at like the Royal Rumble or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. No Punk, no Drew for Survivor Series on major pay-per-view.
Yeah, first major pay-per-view. Neither guy is going to be on. So, we'll see. We got next up. We go backstage. We see The Miz is found by Final Testament. They say, "Oh, we're thrilled to see you still alive." Miz said that he was asking Adam Pearce for a leave of absence. Cross said that he was not doing that because Miz had given him no information about the Wyatt Six. Miz said that this was bigger than them. He had to think about his family. He settled his business with the Wyatts. He apologized and promised that he had changed his ways, so they let him go. Miz was a better man now. But Cross was pissed because the Wyatts took out Paul Ellering, who was his family. Cross reminded Miz that he said they would break his legs if he didn't have answers, and AOP grabbed the Miz. They dragged him out into the ring in front of the crowd. Cross didn't believe Miz's story and demanded to know where the Wyatt Six were. Miz was freaking bleeding from his eyelids at this point. I didn't know if this was a Wyatt Six trick or they accidentally cut him open. But the lights eventually went down, and when they came back on, the Wyatt Six were standing across the ring from the Final Testament. But out of nowhere, Miz comes with a steel chair. He hits Eric Rowan in the back. He gets the better of Eric Rowan with the steel chair, while the rest of the Final Testament beat down on Uncle Howdy, Dexter Lumis, and Joe Gacy, as well as Scarlett beating down on Nikki Cross. The beatdown persists until they lay them out in the middle of the ring. We get the double collider into the power bomb. You get Cross with his finisher that doesn't need a name because it looks crazy. But Cross and Miz, this was all a plan. All a plan by them. They suckered them in. You had the fans loudly chanting, Miz sucks for this. But I like this because it sets up a very logical 8-man tag team matchup. And as Miz and Final Testament left the ring, you get Uncle Howdy laughing as he looked over at Karrion Kross, and Karrion Kross sold it well with the look of like distress, seeing Uncle Howdy just laugh at that attack. The first time the Wyatt Six have been laid out since re-debuting in WWE back in June. So this felt like an impactful moment. It felt like the strongest they presented Final Testament since the AOP's return back in January. This feels like the first time they've really positioned them as a threat to anybody, and especially they did it with something that they've protected very well since their debut in June, the Wyatt Six. It made it look even more impressive.
What a setup. What a plan. Karrion Kross outsmarted the Wyatt Six. Wow. That's big. It actually fooled me too, because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't expect Miz to actually do all that. So that was interesting to me. It's just funny though. By the end of this, Karrion Kross like comes out on top. He's standing tall. And then Uncle Howdy just no sells it. He just starts laughing at his ass. Like, oh, come. Listen, I know that's Uncle Howdy's thing, where he just laughs at everything now. It's kind of spooky. But it's just funny that Karrion Kross finally gets his one moment where he looks smart and the guy's just laughing at him. Oh, it's so funny.
Like this was all a part of his plan.
But yeah, man. Karrion Kross cooking. My guy.
You got your sleeve still?
Nah, I just put it away.
Oh, this guy. You should have wore it for Karrion
I did.
Kross.
I just wore it.
Oh, you just wore it for me talking about this?
Yeah. Now that the Puerto Ricans are gone, and we can move on.
Well, next up in our final matchup, you had the main event for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Belair almost hit Cargill.
Oh, hold on a second. Can I just say something right now? Because I might forget it.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan, why is she not traveling with the ring? She didn't have the ring.
Nope.
I guess she does not want to be responsible for however much money that thing is worth and lose it through airport security or something. Because I want that to be with her all the time. Well, at least at the bare minimum for important matches, so she could use it as a weapon. Let WWE hold on to the damn thing then. Something.
He's putting the line there. He's drawing the line at you need to bring the ring everywhere, Liv. Cargill was trying out new moves in this matchup. They had early on outside the ring a miscommunication where Bianca had to stop short of hitting Jade, and they got into a little bit of a disagreement, but that allowed the heels to take advantage and take control of the matchup. Rodriguez and Cargill, they knocked each other out with boots at the same time. It led to SmackDown's Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. They ran out and attacked the champions. Stratton distracted the referee while Jax gave Cargill a Samoan drop on the ring apron. Raquel tried to follow up with the Vader Bomb elbow drop on Jade, but only got a 2 count as Bianca broke up the cover. SmackDown's Naomi ran down and she fought off Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax. Liv gave Naomi a backstabber. Cargill booted Liv as out of midair and knocked Raquel off of the apron. This allowed her to give the tag to Bianca Belair, who delivers the KOD to the WWE Women's World Champion and pins her 1-2-3 to pick up the victory for Bianca and Jade over Liv and Raquel. But everything breaks down in the post-match here as you get Nia Jax attacks the tag team champions post-match, but Io Sky runs down and she starts going wild. She hits a springboard dropkick. She knocks out Tiffany Stratton. Bianca and Cargill knock Rodriguez out of the ring. You get Sky, Naomi, and then finally Belair and Cargill hit double suplex on Nia Jax to finally take her down. And all 4 babyfaces stand in the ring to close Monday Night Raw, as we are obviously getting a women's War Games matchup out of this, but it feels so haphazardly shoehorned onto this show because, like I said, Io Sky has been feuding with Jade and Bianca for the past month and a half over the WWE Tag Team Championships. Io Sky is the person who cashed in Money in the Bank on Bianca Belair last year. Bianca's was feuding with Damage Control for about 2 to 3 years since Damage Control was invented. And now they're good enough to be on the same team. Big 3, no problem with them. They have no issues. But it's quite obvious that they're doing 5-on-5 for all of these War Games matchups. So who's the natural person that's going to be on the babyface team? Bayley. No, I'm good. I'm good. Because you already ruined the whole thing that would have made this interesting. Is Bianca Belair is the new Kevin Owens of the women, who has a long memory and remembers that Bayley was in charge of damage control and she has been making her life a living hell. But if you forgive Io, you can forgive Bayley. I'm sorry. If you're so quick to forgive Io and you have no issues with Io, then you should have no issues with Bayley, who's been on the side of good this whole entire year. You kind of took away an element that would have caused some storyline development as we head into the Women's War Games, but now it's going to feel contrived because of how you did this segment.
Well, then also, Bayley can't forget about her beef with Damage Control.
Yes, her beef with Damage Control. And then I didn't even start on the heel side, Romeo,
Yeah, I was
where
about to say that too.
Liv and Nia were beefing with each other, feuding with each other on Raw and SmackDown. They were fighting over the Crown Jewel Championship. Nia got screwed over because of Dominic, Raquel, and Tiffy interfering in that matchup, which is the whole reason she's not the first ever Crown Jewel champion. But all is fine. She can help Liv become the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion on this show.
And Tiffany's going to have her choice in War Games, both champions in the match, if she wants to cash in during War Games. Very interesting.
None of this made sense. None of this.
Bianca Penn and Liv. Liv, like, there's another challenger for her, I guess, right after Io.
Oh, and don't get me started on this matchup, because the matchup was fine, but the booking of Liv Morgan is fucking sad.
Raquel's so unbeatable. She can't
this
get
for
a pin.
you as a Liv Morgan fan. It's sad. It's sad that they just make her look like fucking a hopeless fucking dope who has to be saved by Raquel every single time. Every near fall that was broken up by the heels, it was Liv being pinned.
Raquel can't eat a pin. I'm sorry. She could eat a pin, especially if it's from like Jade. It's fine. Okay, Jade beat you.
You can at least take a near fall that Liv has to break up. Like, it's crazy. It's
disrespect to my Liv Morgan. The disrespect.
Crazy. We got Eric Isaac who says, I thought that the big three and Damage Control hate each other. Yes, they do. But I guess WWE forgot it. So it's all fine. This feels very much it's the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view time. So we need Hell in a Cell matches. But
listen,
these are not matches that need these stipulation.
Listen, the match might be really good because of the women involved in it. But good luck me. Like, I barely remember shit anyways. But good luck me in like a couple of years, maybe even 1 year, trying to remember who was all on the teams in this matchup. And probably for you too, and you have the greatest memory. So who knows?
It's because we've been dealing with this is going to be the third year in a row that has some combination of Bianca Belair and Damage Control.
Well, that's funny.
It's the third women's War Games matchup that has Bianca Belair and Damage Control at the center of it. Except this time, guys, they're on the same team.
It's funny.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Will Chisholm says, Team Liv hates black and Japanese women. God damn it. Ace, what the hell are you talking about? How does Bianca have issues with Bayley, but she doesn't have issues with Io Scott? And before you say, well, Bayley is the leader of Damage Control, who benefited the most from Damage Control's rivalry with Bianca Belair? It was Io Scott. Io Scott became the WWE Women's Champion because Bianca lost in the Money in the Bank when Io cashed in Money in the Bank at SummerSlam last year. It was Io who benefited from that. Io benefited from Kairi Sane coming back and joining up with Damage Control. Io benefited from Asuka coming in and joining Damage Control. It was Io every single time.
It's true.
I'm just frustrated with this War Games build. It's just no reason. No reason. Couldn't this just been a Survivor Series elimination matchup?
Yeah. That'd be much better fitting, actually. 100%.
I would not complain about this if it was an elimination matchup. I just complain about it being a War Games match.
Yeah, no need.
But let us know what you guys think. If you're watching us on demand, let us know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, let us know in the live chat. Final call for super chat donations. Want to thank you guys who have already sent any already during the show. We appreciate you. And of course, let us know in the live chat your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP. Out of 10, what did you give the show? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle for me and Romeo for the November 11, 2024 edition of WWE RAW in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm right there with you, actually. We are the bar. Romeo, out of 10, what did you give the show?
A 5.
Wow, that is thumbs down.
No, below 5.
You get, if you get a 50 in school, is that a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs?
I'm not going by school standards. And by the way, the Department of Education is getting thrown out, so who cares about school? That doesn't exist.
I'm gonna give.
I'll say the recruiting drama added much to this show, made me interested. If it didn't have that, thumbs down show.
I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. I thought the wrestling was mostly fine. Nothing
memorable
with this roster, but yeah, nothing memorable either. So 6 out of 10 seems the fairest. Thumbs in the middle for me. Your match of the night, Romeo.
I wasn't blown away by anything. I guess I'll give it to the main event just because it had the highest stakes. This could have been like a tape show, like we said earlier. It's like where you just hear about it, the reviews, and we just feed you the information. You didn't really need to watch it.
I'm going to probably give it to Pete Dunne and Kofi Kingston, kind of by default. And then MVP for the show, I'm going to give it to Seth Rollins because he's the most beautiful woman at the ball.
I give it to Seth. I gave it to Priest. Priest was awesome, running down Gunther. And I gave it to the Final Testament and Miz for putting a plan together that worked on the Wyatt 6.
That's fair. LVP for the show, I'm going to probably have to give it to Triple H for the Women's War Games. Like, that's the thing that frustrates me the most on this show, and I can't blame anyone on the show. It's the booking, so I give it to Triple H.
I give it to Gunther. He got absolutely roasted by Damian Priest. And I give it to the Wyatt 6. They got set up by Karrion Kross, and then Uncle Howdy no selling it.
This is all a part of the plan.
It is a funny gimmick. It is funny, but
I love it. But yes, that's going to bring us to the end of Rated Raw Review. Thank you, as always, Romeo. The great intro. Sanal loved the New Japan intro as well from yesterday. We're still waiting on the THH intro. We still need that. Yep. That's coming soon, but thank you for the new countdown. Thank you for the new intro to Rated Raw Review and everything else as always. But let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they shall see you again.
And thank you, Stat King John, for the amazing music beats he puts together for these intros. Follow me, Romeo Damas, on social media. You should see me on some watch-alongs this weekend. Friday night, we're going to watch on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Check that out over there. And Saturday night, probably, very likely, UFC, John Jones, Stipe Miocic from Madison Square Garden. Join us. Subscribe over there.
There we go. Some good stuff for you to enjoy over there. I will be live tomorrow on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment with Miss Chrissy Love to review Agatha All Along, the latest Disney Plus Marvel series. So we're going to break down that over on Sports and Entertainment. So join us for that. We also got True Picks over there. So a good time to subscribe over at the True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button here if you haven't already, because we're closing in. We're less than like 1.4 thousand subscribers away from our goal of 20,000 for the end of the year, a month and a half to go. So let's see if we can hit that. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like the True Heel Heat flagship podcast, like our NJPW Fighting Spirit Unleashed review that we did yesterday with me and Sanal. So check that out as well. But until then, for Romeo, it is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Rated Raw Review number 43. We need a fifth for the November 11, 2024 edition of Monday Night Raw. We are signing off until next time.